Hello friends, today we will discuss about basic DOM manipulation via vanilla JavaScript. We have one division tag with ID up. Would like to add one paragraph tag as a children to the div element. And addition of any HTML element or removal which can be easily done by using any framework. And nowadays there are lots of modern frameworks in the front end side, for example React, Vue, Angular or Svelte. But having a good understanding of the DOM capabilities or using this kind of small addition or subtraction of element via vanilla.js will definitely help us. The first take, we can definitely add or remove element inside directly the body, but let's go through the simple code snippet how we can access this particular scenario. Like to access this particular div tag, we define a ID. An ID usually unique to particular whole HTML document. If you render one HTML page, this ID will be unique. So once we give this app, then we can retrieve this particular div element only. Even though we have multiple, the ID will be different for each of the different div element. So document is a global object which is available inside the browser, which has lots of functionality which helpful to the manipulation of DOM. And we are using this get element by ID, and there are different function available. For example, query selector all, which can have different capabilities. But this particular function is very popular, and it will return a single node. It won't return an array. So app will correspond to this particular div element here, but it is not a HTML tag. It is a DOM element or DOM node structure, which is kind of a object structure. And once we create it, we store into the memory. We will come to it later. Then again, we using the document object. We call another function known as create element, and here we pass which kind of element we want to create. We want to create a div. We can pass a div, or in our case, paragraph, for example, p, or we can pass palm, table, or any element we would like to create. And earlier, there are different way to do that. This is a little bit modern syntax. We can directly give p.text content and pass this DOM manipulation. Also, in some of the example, you will see they create like document.create text node and create a text node and append it, which looks very clumsy and little bit more code to that. But there is an alternative to do that, and that's supported across multiple browser. This is also nowadays quite, I'm not sure about when it is added, but this is also very popular syntax. So we can do p.text content DOM manipulation. So this will be appear in this text here. And once we create this p node, it will be available inside memory. So we have the app node separately and we have p node. So we have to join between those two. So we can call app.append and we can pass this p, and this p element will be appended inside this app. And there are different methods available. For example, you can add as a sibling or before append or after append, and there are a couple of different variants of it. So you can Google it and you can explore some kind of MDN documentation to get different flavor of it. But idea is that this is how we access the retrieve element. This is how we create a new element, assign some text, and we append it. So this particular structure will be created. Now let's see that example in action. So I've just created a simple HTML tag, HTML template. This is the general head section. I won't go into that individual section. So here we have our div tag with ID app, and this is our script tag. We can return it. Okay. So it is the same code we have written here. App, creating the paragraph node here and append it. So if you notice over here, there is no paragraph here. But once we run it, we should see this paragraph node should be appended here, and we should be able to see this rendering with the paragraph tag. Now let's see that example in action. Here, the DOM manipulation. This is a text node created. If you see that body section, ID, paragraph DOM manipulation. So this is how it will be rendered. And sometimes this script tag, the placement of it will be very important. If you place it before it, because this JavaScript will execute top to down, and there are different way. I'll in the future course I'll discuss. Whenever this page is loaded, you want to execute your JavaScript code, but I just for simplicity I just added into below it, so that this div element will be associated into the browser. So whenever we try to fetch it, this app tag is available. But if you try to execute it, so this script tag will be executed immediately, and it won't see this this deep.id app is not recognizable, so it will throw an error over here. So just to show some example to you, yeah, see, there is nothing is printed. Once we see in the console, uncaught type error, cannot read property append of null. So this is means app is null over here. It is unable to identify there is any app node. So if you want to do further debug statement, so it is a null. It is not thrown any error here. It is a null. And it created a p tag, but whenever you try to append it, it throw an error because you can't append a children with the null tag. So if you try to see that example, see p is null here, because at this moment this particular div tag is not created. But if you do it below it, so this is like how this our console.log looks like, app node. So it contains this entire div.id and with p tag. But at this moment, if you see that, even though that p tag is not added, but the way JavaScript function, it is a little bit asynchronous way it will happen. It executed by the time it did this console.log. At that time, this application is already populated with the p tag. It happens so fast, and it is happened in a async way, so that whenever we're trying to print it, this will take the low priority. It will execute everything. Then this app will be populated with the entire structure. Okay. And let's, for example, if you see, there are very common pattern. For example, we have ID, we have class. These two we are using for various CSS styling purposes. These are known as attributes. Okay. So we can set, there are two ways I will show you. If you do p.set attribute, we can pass attribute. In this case, class also we can give, or ID we can give, and we can give this ID name. And also we can specify any other attribute which is relevant for you. And for example, class name, we already have directly attribute available inside all the element p.class name para. So the class name will be created. So let's see in the example in action. So here, let's say I give like, we can give after text or before text, doesn't matter. See, we have so many methods are already available. We'll use this class name. See, here we added the class as para. And also we want to add some attribute. If you remember our function, like set attribute, it is not create attribute or it is not add attribute, it is a set attribute. Even though ID is the new one, by setting any key value pair, we can get that ID attribute. Okay. So p dot set attribute, it come in the first auto completion, ID text. We can give anything, text 1 2 3 if you want to give. So ID text 1 2 3. Or in this way also we can set this class if you don't want to use this shortcut syntax. So this also should be supported. Class See class text 1 to 3. So hope you learned something today. And fundamental knowledge about this DOM is very important, even though you eventually use any framework, for example, React or Svelte. But understanding this DOM will help you in a lot. Thank you very much. Have a good day ahead. Bye-bye.